It has gotten so bad there, really, that the Biden administration is now implementing policies that look very similar to the Trump-era policies that they complained about. Just take a look at the clock. 4 hours now and 59 minutes until Title 42 expires. This was the most predictable crisis in American history. It is why we took the show to the border 18 months ago. We have been talking about this, about today, for almost 2 years now. It's why we went out with the Texas Department of Public Safety on the water, on patrol, and in the air to show you the breadth and depth of the problem. Over the past 6 days, Border Patrol has apprehended almost 10,000 people a day. Most of those people have been released into the United States. Those are quite simply unheard of numbers. Remember, in January, we were talking about record numbers, and it was 5,000 people a day. We're now at double that. And the more people who come over, the greater percentage of those who get released. This is new reporting about just what's happening in the past 24 hours. Border Patrol is now so overwhelmed that in many places along the border, they are releasing migrants via quote-unquote parole, which in turn leads to mass release. The Border Patrol says any sector that has exceeded 125%, which is basically all right now, are authorized now to release people without a notice to appear or a court date. Rather, in 60 days, they would call with a pinky promise, essentially, to initiate removal proceedings. Now, think about that. They're not given a cell phone or an ankle monitor or anything. They're allowed into the United States. There are charities waiting to pick them up and give them plane tickets to anywhere in America, as these pictures show. Why on earth would any of these people who just risked their life and limb and fortune to come across the border ever call for removal proceedings? You think they're going to all of a sudden call in 60 days and say, oh, by the way, now it's time for me to leave? It is, in a word, absolutely laughable. We have shown you pictures from across the border. At least we were planning to. We're having some technical difficulties, as you can see, because our drone pilots evidently are not able to fly right now, and we're having some problems with camera shots. But each one of these towns we've shown you, each one of these cities, is a snapshot of just one place. But the problem is actually much bigger. The border goes, of course, from San Diego, California, through Yuma, Arizona, Nogales, Arizona, El Paso, Del Rio, Eagle Pass, Mission, Texas, Laredo, Texas, McAllen, Texas, all the way to Brownsville, Texas. That's 1,900 miles. Those are just the big towns. The pictures we show you are being repeated in cities across the border. Rio Grande City, Texas, La Jolla, Texas, Los Angeles, Texas. I could go on and on and on. Lieutenant Chris Olivarez with the Texas Department of Public Safety is with us now. You guys got a busy night coming up, sir. Midnight comes. What do you all expect?
Well, Leland, of course, we do expect that we're going to see a massive influx of people coming across the border, but it's been happening, in the last few days, especially, the fact that Title 42 has still been in place. So, we do expect to see that. But one thing that we've been able to do in the last few days is actually take a more controlled process. And what I mean by that is we're taking a proactive stance and placing concertina wire along the Rio Grande River here in Brownsville, Texas. And what that has done is acted as a deterrent. So we've been able to redirect some of that flow to the ports of entry or to other areas. And of course, if we see other potential crossings, well, we can identify those areas and place other wire or more concertina wire. And of course, we have National Guard that's been doing a great job in doing that, and as well as our state troopers. So we're going to be ready. We'll be ready for this evening. Of course, it remains to be seen what's actually going to happen. But I think right now that the migrants that are waiting in Mexico now, they do have an understanding that they're not going to be allowed to cross between the ports of entry.
So there's two issues here, right? There's what happens and where people come across. And again, it's interesting that typically it would be the Border Patrol's job because they haven't done the job. The Texas Department of Public Safety, Operation Lone Star's stepped in. You and I have been talking about this now for 20 months since when I came down there and we all went out. But I'm thinking that all those people who come across, our viewers, I think, need to understand that when most of them come across, they present themselves to Border Patrol. The numbers are at a point now that even if they're deterred from coming across by the concertina wire and everything else into Texas, when they come across the ports of entry, they're treated like every other illegal immigrant, and a lot of them are let into the United States, correct?
Exactly, because of course Border Patrol, just with the overwhelming people coming across, I mean, there's just no way to actually properly vet them. So they're mass releasing these illegal immigrants into the interior, and that's what we've been seeing for the past 2 years. And now, of course, now with the lifting of Title 42, it's going to make the situation much worse. So
thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.